Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. And today I welcome Abbie, and I'm really excited that we're going to be talking about human design, which is something new in my world in the last few months. And Abbie is a human design expert, so I'm really looking forward to the conversation and where this is going to go today. So, a quick introduction to Abbie. So, Abbie, as I said, is a human design expert and mindset mentor. She launched her human design business over 5 years ago and has worked with thousands of clients worldwide, activating their connection and confidence into being their most authentic selves. Her work blends the energetic and the practical, helping people understand their unique design and embody it in real life and business. Welcome to the show today, Abbie. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I recently did a human design reading with Abbie. She's very important teacher, a guide in terms of human design in one of the communities I'm in, where we've got all sorts of experts. But yeah, sometimes topics resonate with you and they don't, and I'm really surprised at how much human design has grown on me. So it's fascinating. It's like a manual to myself, I found.
Mm.
Yeah, Abbie, be really great to hear a little bit about what is human design for the
Mhm.
individual who might not know, who's listening. And yeah, how did it come into your world?
Oh, so fun. Yeah, human design. I mean, you took the words straight out of my mouth because it literally is like an instruction manual on how to be more yourself.
Mm,
And I think it's so important because we live in a world that is constantly telling us who we should be. And really, like, it's with human design, it allows you to see just naturally who you are on a soul level and give you that permission to actually step into that, rather than, questioning yourself or second guessing the way that you want to do life or the way that you naturally do life and
mm,
thinking, oh, if I'm not doing it the way this person does it, am I doing it wrong? Am I a bad person? Am I doomed? Like whatever the narrative is that we create in our heads. But human design, it's literally an instruction manual to say those things that come natural to you, they come from your soul. And it is okay for you to literally lead your life like that, And so, yeah, it is. It's an instruction manual for who you are, and it just gives you that confidence. This is what I hear the most is it's something that just gives you that confidence and that permission to actually be who you know that you are, you know?
mm,
And human design, it sort of found me kind of everybody has like a similar story with human design, like you said.
mm.
It started, you heard it once, and then another person told you, and then another person told you. And it was kind of the same for me. But I was living in China at the time, and I went for a Reiki session. So I was sort of like exploring self-connection and spirituality. I'd always been interested in spirituality, but I was just like starting to explore what it meant for me. And I go to this Reiki session and I come out of it and she asks me like, have you heard of human design? And I'm like, no, like what's that? And she all of a sudden pulls up this chart and I'm like, what does that mean? And she explained like some of the basics. And I remember thinking like, oh, like that really resonates and that's cool. But then I just didn't think about it. Then I just like went on with my day. I think I was sort of processing the Reiki. And and then I went back a few months later for another Reiki session, and she asked me again, have you heard of human design? And I was like, okay, there's something here. And at that point, it just resonated so deeply with me. And I was like, okay, I need to go and explore this. And so I went and I got a mentor and I had a reading, and I just literally couldn't believe that someone could tell me things about myself that I'd never really even spoken aloud, but I knew that about myself, but I'd never really spoken it aloud or had the language for it, you know?
Mm.
And so from that point on, it just became like I just became activated like a passion within me. And I just went on this sort of deep dive of, you know, understanding more about my own human design. And then I, started pulling up the charts of, the people around me, like my loved ones. I wanted to know, like, how does everyone work? Because for me, it gave me that language to how I work naturally and that permission again to step into that even more. And I just thought, like, why doesn't everybody know about this? You
Mm.
know? And I just sort of like, that was literally the question that prompted me to start my business. It was never, I never really thought that I was going to do a business with human design. It literally, I just was like following these breadcrumbs of what was lighting me up, what was exciting me. And it just became a business essentially.
Mm.
So, so yeah, it's really for me, it just like came in and sort of changed my life and really transformed the connection that I had with myself at the time. It really prompted me to step into like that creator mode of my life, being that I call it like the creative director of my life. I started really actually making decisions based on how I wanted to make decisions and based on where my energy wanted to go. And I just started like seeing my energy like that. My energy is my currency. I choose where I spend it, and when something feels right for me, when something feels good, that means that it's a good investment for me, And so it just really completely shifted the connection I had with myself and how I live my life. So,
I love that. Some great like kind of it popped up multiple times in your life, and now it's become like a business. And it sounded like energetically, it just like it was something that just felt good. And you
mhm.
touched a little bit on um, it like energy and human design. How can like human design contribute to like our energy?
Well, so one of the most like foundational aspects of your human design is your energy type.
Mm.
And there are five different energy types in the human design system. And each one of them, they sort of let you know how you naturally energetically show up,
Mm.
how your aura operates, and how you can start working with it rather than against it. Because again, like there's this cookie cutter, way that we're taught to live life, to show up in our
Mm.
businesses, in our relationships, and everything. And we're all so different. Like we're all so individual, so unique. And it's literally about, okay, like how can I align with that? How can I sort of, it's almost like you are flowing with your wave, right? Like of
Mm.
energy. You're flowing with your energy rather than, because so many of us were, battling against it. And what happens is we end up feeling stuck in our life. We end up feeling unfulfilled, disconnected. All of these feelings that we get, it's literally because we're not expressing who we are. We're not allowing ourselves to flow in our lives. And so this is like, for me, understanding who I was on an energetic level. And, human design, it is all about energetics. So it's all about, those gifts that you have that are underneath the surface there, your energy. I think I always like to explain it as, if you walk into a room or if someone walks into a room,
Mm.
people come with energy and you feel it. Someone could walk into a room and they're having the worst day and you feel it before they even say anything.
Mm.
So it's literally like we know that energy is a thing. We know that energy almost like holds information, holds language. Human design is kind of like, okay, what is your language? What energies are you projecting out? How can you understand how to flow with it and use it to your advantage, right?
Mm.
Um, And so we have the five types, which are generator, manifester, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector.
Mm.
And this is just like one layer of your human design. And it's also, I mean, I love that human design is so layered because, I mean, it just reflects us as people. We're very layered in general. But yeah, each of the types are different. They're going to show up differently. So knowing yours, it's kind of like, okay, like how can I flow with how I'm meant to show up? You know?
Yeah, I'm a manifester, if you're
hmm
listening. Um, and yeah, Abby's a manifester generator. So
Yeah.
like those
How
different.
did that like resonate for you when you understood that you were a manifestor? Because
Oh,
manifestors are only 8% of people, It's like really, it's quite rare to be a manifestor.
I was just so happy reading it. It was like that's me. I'm like just
Yeah.
I just you're reading it. I'm like that is exactly me. It's like loves using his voice in the right way, loves people. I've worked through the people pleasing thing over time, but I am admittedly quite sensitive to like
Mm,
people's input and things like that. I will say my things, but that was part of it. It's like they like to win people on side. They like to be liked. They like to lead new ideas and things like that, and it just kind of lit me up. And for me, it gives me a bit more. It's given me a bit more permission since even making like choices, not since then, but even the last month or two, of things that
mm.
didn't align, and that's totally in line with the manifestor. It's like me sharing on a podcast lights me up, but that may not light someone else up. It's like
Mm,
that's what landed for me, I think.
Yeah, because manifestors, they are the trailblazers, we like to call them in the human design system. It's kind of like they're the ones that are here to go first. And sometimes, manifestors, you will have like downloads or ideas that are kind of so out there, but it's like your body is like, you have to do these things. You have to, even when it doesn't make sense, it's
Mm,
like, go for it. And but it's kind of like the things that we do, they're never going to resonate with everybody, especially new things, and so I think that is definitely something for manifestors to really like connect with in themselves, to be empowered if something is bringing you peace and feels right in your body and you're being called in that direction, the right people are going to rise up with you, and it's just you have to be in your lane essentially as a manifesto.
no,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, excited to. Yeah, there's a good breakdown. There's many, many layers to it as well. And I think one thing that also landed for me, not just the manifester thing, but the general human design thing, which I'm very, very beginner. I'm learning this, and it's great to kind of hear your
Yeah.
breakdown from me. It's is that like when you see this I don't know how true this feels for you, but when you see lots of great like influencers and speakers and other people kind of showing up on Instagram, a lot of them can be very like lit up with what they're doing. They're like
Mm,
you got to do this, you got to work till this, and they're very excited. They may have a certain type that they're not even aware of, but if someone
mm,
else follows that, they could get completely burned out as
mm,
opposed to someone else who it might work a bit better for. So for me, what human design I see it as is you understand yourself better and can see what path's right for you.
like absolutely. And I think this is so important because again, it's almost like, we can see content or like you say, like certain influencers or whatever, and it's like, this is the way. This is
Mm,
going to, I don't know, get you 10K followers, or it's gonna, build you into like a seven-figure year, like whatever the promise is. But it's like, if that's not authentic to you, it's not going to last. It's kind of like, you think about those like fad diets that everybody used to go on like 10 years ago. It was kind of like people would go on them and they would see like some success, but then it wouldn't last because
mm,
it wasn't authentic to like their lifestyle or to, how they naturally show up or whatever. And so human design, it has a way of seeing who you are as an individual and what works for you so you can leverage that, And so, for example, like with my mentorship clients, so these are clients that I work with one to one in like, a long-term capacity. They will have certain goals that they want to do. So, for example, I have a client right now, and she's all about becoming more magnetic in her business and standing out online. And we work with her human design and this because then we are creating success and alignment in her business that is like with her, with who she is and what she's about. So it's kind of like, yeah, I feel like the idea of, the cookie cutter way of doing things and showing up, I feel like it's becoming like kind of like old news.
Mm.
Um and like you're right. It's, you can go to I think certain places or, and you just feel like that energy from someone. We can definitely like absorb energy as well, and that can be a good thing, but it's, we have to be aware. This is where our awareness comes in as well. So,
Yeah, I found for me I've had the follow people because they're very like certain or influential, a few years ago and that kind of space, and you're like, oh, it's like they're good positive like people, but then it's just
yeah.
like something didn't quite flow, and then I found another path, and right now I'm in Danny's work, as I know you're in that world, and it's kind of that resonates a lot. Whilst like a few years ago I'd have loved like the Tony Robbins world, but yeah, it's
Mm,
just kind of like always getting in touch with myself and then yeah,
yeah.
all that. So
Yeah. It's kind of like what I love about Danny is actually a reflector. So I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but
mm.
reflectors are 1% of the population.
Oh
Like
wow.
it's very, I could probably say I've probably met maybe like 15 to 15 reflectors in my
Wow.
work,
Wow.
which, I've been doing this for like 5 or 6 years. Like
Phew.
it's really a handful of people that I've worked with that are reflectors. And reflectors, they see you. Like that's if you're in a space with a reflector, and you will have seen this in Danny's, when you're at his events at Awaken, it's almost like, when people get up and they speak, he sees them on another level.
Mm.
It's almost like he hears what they're not actually saying, and he just feels their energy in another way, and that's a reflector. A reflector is like a mirror. So it's almost like if you're around a reflector, you can't hide anything,
Mm.
and
Wow.
they really are like catalysts for your own transformation. And for me, like as a human design reader and coach, when I go to Danny's shows, I'm observing how the reflector is at work because he is so aligned with the work that he does. Um, but yeah, it is, and it's kind of I think it's all about everything should always be towards connecting people deeper to themselves.
Mm.
I think rather than this is the way that you get this or whatever. I believe when we are more ourselves, that's when we magnetize everything that we want, because it's almost like I always say, imagine if you're a puzzle piece, right? And you're trying to contort yourself to be a different kind of piece. The
Mm.
pieces that are meant to fit within you
Ooh, love that.
cannot find you,
Mm.
So the more that you embrace and embody who you are, the more magnetic you become, essentially. So,
Mm. I love that. Yeah, I might have heard Danny was a reflector, but it makes a lot of sense. Like when people share from the audience, or I've been in the close dinner. I was fortunate to have dinner with him in a small group. You can kind of see his when he's interacting with people, really
mm,
observing and taking that in. So reflectors, I knew there was one that was rarer than manifester. Is that those are the two rarest, the manifester and
yeah.
the reflector? I didn't know if there
Yeah,
was
so
one in between. Yeah.
yeah, so we've got like the general population, like we're made up, majority is made up of generators, and that's including manifesting generators. So that's where we get all the energy from. It's so the generators and manifesting generators make up about 70% of the population. And I think about this a lot because, you know, manifesting generators, they literally bring the energy to the planet. And how do they bring the energy? They've got to be doing things that they want to do, that excite them, that light them up, that sort of plug them in, right? Because then they're able to, almost like as a byproduct, they give energy. And, for you as a manifester, you would have felt this like for sure, that, if someone like if you're in a room with someone and they love what they do, you can leave that room and you can feel like uplifted. You can feel like, oh, I
Mm.
feel like that energy of that person. And that's what generators and manifesting generators, what they bring to the world. But unfortunately, a lot of generators and manifesting generators get stuck in being that sort of workhorse and feeling like they just need to give their energy away, And I often think, imagine if 70% of the population was literally plugged in, doing life exactly the way they wanted it, dedicating their energy to things that light them up. Like the frequency of the planet would be so different.
Yeah.
So, and so for generators and manifesting generators, they've really got to honor where their energy wants to go, what excites them, what they're passionate about, those kind of things. And yeah, and then the world will, reap the benefits as well.
Oh
So,
wow, I love that.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
it's yeah, I've met quite a few generators in time, and I would have thought I was that in the past, but no, the manifester makes so true when I did that. Although I like to
Yeah.
work quite a lot, but yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So we touched on the reflector, the manifestors, manifesting generators, generators themselves, and then it was the projectors was the other one.
The projectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're literally here to guide that energy,
Mm.
So projectors, are very, they almost they almost have like this bird's eye view of life. So they're the kind of types that are really able to support and guide our energy and give us perspective. They sometimes they will say something. I know like actually tend to surround myself with projectors. And, that's because for me as a manifesting generator, and this is the difference between a generator and a manifesting generator. A manifesting generator is really fast. Like our pace is kind of like we're quite ahead, like a lot of the time. And projectors just have a way of really grounding that energy, really sort of giving perspective to where we're putting our energy. So, yeah, projectors, they are literally like the guides. They're able to see, how we get from A to B in the most efficient way. They're all about, okay, like, they're all about success, So it's kind of like they're able to really, with that perspective, point us in the right direction towards where is our most aligned success, where is our most alignment in our lives, Um, so yeah. Does that you have projectors in your life, right? And
I've got a mixture of like people, like different people I know. I can think of it, and this all kind of makes sense that you've got like different roles and like and
yeah,
how it can impact like your relationships with people as well potentially, right?
for
Like
sure.
your friends and family or your close ones, whatever, as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, I've even worked with, couples in this kind of work, and what it does, it just allows you to see your partner or a person that is just in your life from a completely different perspective. And the perspective is the perspective of themselves. So you're able to see them from who they are, not like who you want them to be, not who you expect them to be, like none of this, and what it creates is it creates this understanding, it creates this, and the things that really were we find conflict with our loved ones or our partners or anything like that, those places where we find that conflict are, it's usually just where we're different, and that's not a bad thing. But, understanding, okay, like this is how I operate, this is how they operate. Okay, where can we meet in the middle?
Mm.
It opens up more communication, it opens up more compassion, more unity. And yeah, it's kind of like, I think with human design, we're going to be seeing it more and more over the next couple of years because I really believe that, you know, people are waking up to the fact that authenticity is like the highest vibration that we can be
Mm.
at. And this really is that map back towards your own authenticity. And, again, it's something I use in my business every single day. It's how I've been able to grow my business from a place that supports me. It's, something that people use in relationships. It's how we can understand ourselves on a health level, and it's just like it sort of seeps into every area of our lives. So it's a really powerful tool.
I love it. A big thing I like the good analogy you use was like the jigsaw pieces, and
Mm,
you're sometimes trying to jam in and it's the wrong pieces together or whatever like that. And I feel like I've been definitely caught up that so many times in my life, and know many people have. And
mm,
it's in that personal growth space when I sort of came into it first. It's like gotta have the right mindset, the right attitude, and right attitude, and there is work involved in life, but make it
yeah.
fun. Um, but like sometimes it's just like hustle, but it's like going against like the current. It's going completely
Mm,
against like how you're made, how you build, and I love how specific human design can mean to an individual to help them understand what is it, how do they best operate, and how can they get the most out of life and doing what's good for them.
yeah, exactly. And the energy type is just one layer, it's kind of like the top layer of your human design. Like me personally, I love like the depth of human design. So, you know, it shows us how we best make decisions. For example, this was one part that actually completely changed my life, and it was the part of human design that, pushed me into that question, like, why doesn't everybody know about this? Because I think so many of us feel indecisive, or we feel like we have that, that sort of decision fatigue, where we don't know what decision do I make? What is the best route? And I find when we're being like indecisive, it is often for me anyway, if I find myself being indecisive, it's because I'm trying to talk myself into something that I don't even want to do, and for me, my decision-making authority is what we call emotional. And so when I was told about this, she told me you have to take a little bit more time to come to a decision. So you just need to like sleep on it to sort of, let yourself, sort of ride out your emotional wave, like, sleep on it. Because if you answer in the moment, which I would do all the time, she said it can be misaligned because you're reacting on an emotion when you're making a decision. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna put this to the test. Like, and I was thinking about it because I would always agree to something or commit to a decision. And literally the next day, I would be like, why did I do that? Why did I say I wanted to do that? I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
And so I thought, okay, let me, just say, let me think about it. Literally the next day, the job I had at the time, I was a teacher, and a decision came to me. And I said, you know what? Like, let me get back to you tomorrow. Only for my boss to say to me, oh, I thought you would say yes, so I've already agreed on your behalf. And I was like, whoa, this is just like showing me how much I have not been in the driver's seat of my life. Like people just expect me to say yes all the time because that's what I do. I just say yes. I people please. I, give an answer in the moment. And it was from then I was like, okay, I'm just going to start listening to myself. I'm gonna start, making decision, like sleeping on it. And now I'm so clear with what decisions are for me and what are not. And this for me, just that one part of my human design changed so many things
Wow.
and really empowered me and gave me confidence in my own decisions, right? That, yeah, like now it's easy for me to make decisions, And so that's another part. That's the second layer, you know, how you best make decisions.
So many layers to this. It's fascinating.
Mm,
So, I know there's lots of resources and ways you offer support to people on this, like
yeah.
whether it's like a reading or it's more like private, like coaching, where they can get even more dedicated support.
Mhm.
But yeah, Abby, where can the listener find you if they want to find out more about your work or just check out some of your content? And is there maybe a final point you want to share with us today?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I love being on Instagram, and this is where I share a lot of content about different parts of your human design. It's always a good starting point to get into my world. And that is at Abbie Ray Wilson on Instagram. And yeah, like the work that I do, I'm a manifesting generator, and manifesting generators, we love variety. We love to sort of wear many hats. And so I do my readings, which you got yourself. I call it my forever reading. And this is a fully comprehensive, it's like a Bible of yourself that you get to, digest. And it is a written reading, but it goes into every detail of your design. And I call it a forever reading because it's something I encourage you to come back to again and again and again, because different experiences and different eras in your life are going to activate different parts of who you are, right? And you go back to it. I even go back to my own forever reading and I read it and I go, oh my God, like even I wrote it, I'm kind of like, this is so wild. Like this is resonating for me right now. And that is always like, I think that is like the perfect starting point for understanding your human design is getting your forever reading. And then, of course, I do my mentorship programs, which are a little bit longer and a bigger investment of your time and your energy. But that is where we really take things to the next level and where we use this information rather than just knowing about it, just like, okay, like how can I be supported in implementing it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so they're the best places to get started in my world. So. Mhm. Um, yeah, and I think sort of like the last point I want to say is just being yourself is truly where you unlock the most confidence.
Mm.
Just knowing who you are, getting clear on that. I think clarity is so important. Once we're clear on who we are, we can move towards more of what we want and we can feel confident in that. And I think I have developed so much more confidence in my life just by connecting to myself, understanding how I work, how my intuition shows up, and feeling empowered because I know it so well now and I've practiced it. It's like I'm so confident with my judgment on things. I'm so confident in anything that I want in my life. I just know it comes from a soul place. And so it activates confidence on so many levels. So,
Oh, amazing, Abby.
mhm.
Yeah, just being yourself and connecting to that, and no matter how influential someone is, always listen to yourself.
100%. Totally agree. Mm.
Awesome. Love it, Abby.
Mhm.
So we'll be sure to, if you want to, well, when you check out Abby's resources, they'll be linked in the show notes below. So catch her on Instagram. That'll be linked up in the show notes below. So a massive thank you, Abby, for coming on today and everything you've shared. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.